Good day everyone, I am Kristylle Denise Olbia and my topic is all about lesson 3 and I am assigned to the interaction among living things and non-living things in estuaries. The picture shown is some example of estuaries. Now, let us first discuss what is estuaries. Estuaries is the area where a fish and a saltwater mix and are made up of different types of habitats. These habitats can include oyster reef, coral reef, rocky shores, submerged aquatic vegetation, marshes, and mangroves. And also, there are animals that live in the estuaries. The common animals are soars and seabirds, fishes, crabs, lobster, lambs, and also shellfish. These non-living things and living things interaction is that the plants and animals in estuaries is important because the nutrients of the plant will be taken up and be eaten by the animals. When these living things and non-living things will die and decompose, the nutrients are being released again. And the organism, which is the birds and other animals, can transfer nutrients as they move in and out of the estuary. This cycle is important for all aspects because that is why having estuaries is important and needs to protect, especially to people living inland. Other information is the soil of estuaries are full of decaying plants and animals that makes the soil of estuaries rich in nutrients. Next is the zone of estuaries. There are usually three zones in. The first zone is where the rivers begins to meet and the salt water has more fresh water than salt water. Next is the middle zone, where there is almost equal mix of fresh and salt water. The last zone is where the water begins to flow into the ocean and mostly salt water. Let us now describe what makes estuaries interesting and important to the plants and animals. I also explain how these important areas are under threat from certain human activities. People find estuaries satisfying to live in or visit estuaries, swimming, boating, hunting, or fishing in an environment that is sometimes like the ocean and sometimes like the river. People have discovered they can use estuaries as places to build harbors and factories and still be near transportation service and nice place to live and relax. Also, put a different ways, estuaries are places where we can find many ecosystem services, which are benefits that an ecosystem provides. Also, estuaries are places on Earth where rivers meet oceans. When rain and snow melt drain off the land, the fresh water collects in stream and rivers and eventually makes its way to the ocean. At the same time, the ocean has tides that pushes salty water upstream into the rivers. These places where rivers and ocean mix is called an estuary. Estuaries contains many kinds of habitats that are home to plants and also animals. Many people work and live in estuaries. An estuary is a place where streams and river mix with the ocean. An estuary is special because it is partly a river, partly an ocean, but also a place where these two kinds of water meets and mix. When rain and snow melt drain off the land, the fresh water collects in stream and rivers and eventually makes its way to the ocean. At the same time, The ocean has tides that pushes salty water upstream into the rivers. These places where rivers and ocean mix is called an estuary. Estuaries contains many kinds of habitats that are home to plants and also animals. Many people work and live in estuaries. An estuary is a place where streams and river mix with the ocean. An estuary is special because it is partly a river, partly an ocean, but also a place where these two kinds of water meets and mix. In most estuaries around the world, there is salinity gradient as you move oceanward, with salter water near the ocean and fresh water in the upper reaches, near rivers. Estuaries have rivers and creeks running through them too, so their water levels also change depending on how much rain and snow drains down to them. Estuaries have shallow parts and deep parts, muddy parts and clear parts. There are also freshwater edges that have marsh plants and very deep, dark and saltwater channels where sunlight does not reach the bottom. Lastly, the importance of estuaries. Estuaries have important commercial values and their resources provide economic benefits of tourism, fisheries, and recreational activities. This means that they protect coastal water of estuaries, also support important public infrastructure, and also these filter out sediments and populations, the pollutants that provides clean waters to the humans and also to marine life. Next is the benefit living in estuaries. First is they act like buffers protecting lands from crashing waves and storms. Second, they help prevent soil erosion. They soak up excess floodwater and tidal surges. They are important feeding and nursery habitat. This information, in addition to essential habitats for birds, fish, insects, and other wildlife, estuaries provides goods and also service that are economically and logically indispensable, such as commercial fishing. Importance of estuaries. It is important to protect estuaries because they serve as a spawning and nursery ground to other things is how do animals and plants survive in the different types of estuaries. Many plants and animals species thrive in the estuaries. The calm water provides a safe or for small fishes, shellfish, and migrating birds, and also shore animals. The waters of estuaries are rich in nutrients such as plankton and bacteria. As you can see in my PowerPoint presentation, this photo is the Parker River and it is one of some example of estuaries. This picture shows a place where a fresh water meets the ocean. This estuary is formed where the Parker River meets the Atlantic Ocean. And that ends my report for interaction among living things and non-living things in estuary. I hope you have learned something from this video. Thank you.